In strong opposition to the amendment,
Is recognized for 5 minutes.
the inclusion of the citizenship question was a unilateral decision by Secretary Ross last year. Secretary Ross chose to overrule recommendations from nonpartisan experts at the Census Bureau and ignore the potential impacts, including the question would have on response rates to the census without rigorous testing and analysis. Even more recently, additional evidence on the other side's attempts to abuse the census in an effort to gerrymander the district has come to light. Files recently discovered from a Republican redistricting specialist reveal that the citizenship question would result in a structural electoral advantage for Republicans and non-Hispanic whites. The Voting Rights Act enforcement excuse the Republican lean on is nothing more than a ruse and the solution in search of what they view as a problem. It is unfortunate that they have turned to the census to play this political game to undermine the American people. Most changes to the census undergo years of testing and analysis before being added to the decennial census form. The reason we have that process is to better understand the impact a change can have on the response rate and accuracy of the census. It allows for the Bureau to better plan and adjust its operational and outreach strategies. Census is only testing the impact of the question this summer, with results anticipated in October, after critical milestones have passed. The administration leaves no time for census to mitigate the potential impact of what they may find. Wilbur Ross refused to listen to the expert advice of advocates and experts at the Bureau who did not recommend adding an untested question too late in the process. Additionally, there is no doubt that including this question will have a serious negative impact on the self-response rate of the census. People will simply choose not to respond to the census form, and the Bureau will be forced to engage in expensive in-person follow-up to what is not originally assumed in their cost estimates. This should not be an issue that divides us. It should not matter whether you live in a red or blue state or whether you represent an urban or rural district. The question will impact everyone. This amendment will reduce the accuracy and increase the undercount in places like Florida, Texas, Alabama, Michigan, California, and New York. This in turn will affect reapportionment and the distribution of federal funds for the next decade in many of the communities we represent. We can and should do better. Our Constitution is clear. It requires that we count all persons every 10 years. In conclusion, the issue is very simple. If you represent a community that will be undercounted by this question, then you should oppose the amendment. If you support the strict interpretation of the Constitution, then you should also oppose this amendment. I urge a no vote. Madam Chair, the gentleman is correct. There is a campaign of fear, but it's not by what we're doing here. It's what Wilbur Ross wanted to do. The Constitution is clear. Count all the people, not the whites, not the blacks, not the Hispanics, not women, not men, Republicans or Democrats, all the people. And so it's really strange to me that people in many districts that do not support our position are not yelling. After all, you may not like undocumented people in your district, but they, if they get counted, bring more federal dollars, allow for more redistricting properly. And so why would you oppose that? Let us stick to the Constitution. Yes, there is a campaign of fear, and it was fear to try to put into people who are undocumented to say, we're going to ask you if you're a citizenship, although we're not supposed to ask you that. We're going to ask you that, and maybe that'll turn you away from filling out the form, which is what will happen, and we will not get an accurate count. Lastly, it is in everyone's interest in this country to get an accurate count. I reserve.